Democrats on the House floor just accused ICE agents of executing American citizens in the streets, called them thugs who have turned America into a place we don't recognize, demanded the end of what they called the violent federal occupation of Minneapolis, and called for Kristi Noem to be impeached and ICE to be raised. One congresswoman revealed that over 10,000 people have been detained in Florida alone, including a mother nursing her baby who was torn away from her child. And when Republicans blocked every single amendment to debate any of this, Democrats exploded. This was a House floor debate on government funding. Democrats refused to vote for funding the Department of Homeland Security without reforms to ICE and CBP. And what came out of that debate was one of the most shocking series of accusations I've ever heard on the House floor. 4 Democrats spent about 11 minutes laying out accusations of murder, constitutional violations, and a complete breakdown of law enforcement. Take a look at this. And as usual, I'll give you my breakdown at the end.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the time from the gentleman from Massachusetts. Mr. Speaker, Congress must not give ICE or CBP another dollar while they are killing Americans in our streets. We must protect our communities by demanding real change first. This is what our constituents elected us to do. As a starting point, the federal occupation of Minneapolis must end immediately. ICE must adhere to the Constitution and use only judicial warrants for its enforcement operation. Instead, just last week, ICE directed its officers to conduct more arrests without any warrants at all. DHS law enforcement officers must clearly be identifiable and prohibited from hiding behind masks. Racial profiling in immigration enforcement must stop. Sensitive locations like schools, daycare, hospitals, and churches must be protected. We must rein in the sweeping surveillance system DHS is using to crack down on Americans. CBP personnel must also go back to the border. The federal government must cooperate with state and local investigators in investigations, including the murders of Renee Good and Alex Prady. I've been an elected official, Mr. Speaker, like you have, in the state of Mississippi. Never have I seen an opportunity where federal, state, and local law enforcement didn't cooperate together on finding criminals. ICE has taken this to another level, and we're a better country than this. And Mr. Speaker, Kristi Noem must go. She has endangered the security of the United States, its people, and our institution of government. Again, vote no on the rule and the underlying bill so we can hold the Trump administration accountable. And I yield back.
Gentleman yields. Gentleman yields. Gentleman from Georgia.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's important to remember that we stand in the midst of a second government shutdown. And I just have a question for the gentlemen from Massachusetts and Mississippi. Because we are in a shutdown today, and this vote is a vote that will help us end this shutdown later this afternoon, I'm curious, for how long are you prepared to block our military members from receiving not just their salary, but also the hard-earned pay raise? For how long are you willing to withhold the dues that are owed to the people that protect us? And I reserve.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
I thought the gentleman was asking me a question, but we would have a conversation. I will tell you, we don't want to shut down. We want you to reel in an out-of-control ICE agency that are killing American citizens right before our very eyes. That's what we want. And I don't understand for the life of me why that's such a heavy lift for my Republican friends. But that's what we're asking for. We don't want to shut the government down. We don't, that's not who we are. By the way, again, Republicans are responsible for the last shutdown. You went on vacation rather than stay in Washington to try to negotiate a deal. But here we are. All we're asking for is let's reel in this out-of-control agencies, and and my friends find that too difficult to comprehend. I now yield 2 minutes to the gentlewoman from Florida, Ms. Frankel.
Gentlewoman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me be clear. I support the 5 bills that received bipartisan support, but I cannot vote for a package that includes funding for the Department of Homeland Security without immediate action to stop the ongoing violation of human rights and law by ICE that have turned into thugs and has turned our country, America, into a place that many of us don't recognize. Donald Trump promised to take violent criminals off the street, but instead, his immigration enforcement has become a campaign of cruelty against peaceful people, tearing families apart, hollowing out businesses, and paralyzing neighborhoods with pepper spray and fear. And the crisis is national in scope, not just the headlines of the cold-blooded murders in Minnesota. The Department of Homeland Security has detained hundreds of thousands of decent people this year, often in unspeakable conditions and without a fair process. And that includes over 10,000 people in my home state of Florida. A mother nursing her baby torn away from her child. Largely good, decent mothers and fathers, workers who contribute to our communities. And we do need to take the time for bipartisan immigration reform. But today, we must rein in ICE. And that includes ending mass enforcement, roving patrols, requiring judicial warrants, mandating body cameras, ending total immunity, and repurposing the billions of dollars that are being used to menace our communities. Security does not require brutality. Enforcement does not require lawlessness. And our immigration policy should reflect our values, not force us to abandon them. We can secure our borders without terrorizing our neighbors, and I will not support funding that enables cruelty. Congress must act now. Impeach Kristi Noem and rein in ICE. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields. Gentleman reserves.
Well, Mr. Speaker, again, I think it's important to note the reason why we're here today is because Senate Democrats, along with some Senate Republicans, advanced legislation that enables us to fund the government. So I do find it interesting that our colleagues in the House here are so adamantly opposed to funding our government when 20 of their colleagues in the Senate in their own party not only support giving our troops a pay raise, but support paying and funding our government as it rightfully should be because of all the wins that President Trump has accomplished thus far. But I am curious, Mr. Speaker, with respect to this vote today, I hear over and over again commentary on ICE and operations therein. But again, no one has addressed the fact that today we are voting to pay our service members. It's a very simple vote. You can either vote yes to pay them or no to withhold payment and funds to them. And I'm just waiting for somebody to answer why that seems to be a bargaining chip that some of our colleagues on the Democrat side of the aisle continue to deploy at the expense of our service members. I reserve.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts.
Yeah, I would just say to the gentleman, unfortunately, under the Republican rule, we don't have regular order anymore. We should be debating appropriation bills one at a time. They bunch everything together. And by the way, not only do they bunch things together, they don't even call for amendments anymore. This is the most closed Congress in history. This is the Rules Committee, and this House of Representatives has become a place where democracy goes to die. My friend should be ashamed of what they are doing to this institution. I now yield 2 minutes to the gentlewoman from Texas, Ms. Fletcher.
Gentlewoman is recognized from Texas.
Mr. Speaker, in the nearly 2 weeks since the House last met, people across America witnessed the execution of another American citizen, Alex Preddy, by agents of the United States government, Border Patrol agents operating far from the border in Minneapolis. People across the country watched in horror as federal agents executed him and then immediately tried to assassinate his character, lying about who he is and what he was doing. The American people see through these lies, just as they see that this administration is taking actions every single day against its own people that are unconstitutional, un-American, and unconscionable. Everywhere, people are talking about it. In our House Democratic caucus, we're talking about what we can do about it. The only place that we're not talking about it is here in this chamber on the floor of the United States House of Representatives. As Mr. McGovern just noted, once again, the Republicans that control what comes to the floor blocked any amendments to the bill, stopping not just the policy proposed, but the policy debate about the potential solutions and the problems that they address altogether. And now they say we'll address them in 2 weeks. Mr. Speaker, we don't need 2 weeks. We don't have 2 weeks. When Americans are being killed, detained, harassed, and silenced by their government, there should be no higher priority for the U.S. House of Representatives than for the entire Congress than protecting the people that we represent and protecting the Constitution that gives us all of our rights. It is being violated daily by this administration and by officials who have sworn an oath to protect it, just as we have as members of Congress. But we are not doing that here today, and that's why I'm voting no on this rule and urge my colleagues to do the same.
I want to add some information you didn't have from just watching that clip because the receipts on this are worse than what you just heard. First, let's talk about what's actually happening in Minneapolis that has Democrats using words like occupation and execution. On January 22nd, 2025, Border Patrol agents shot and killed Alex Prey in Minneapolis. Alex Prey was an American citizen. He was not undocumented. He was not a criminal suspect. He was an American. According to witness accounts and video footage, Prey was in a vehicle when Border Patrol agents approached. Within seconds, shots were fired. Prey died at the scene. Border Patrol initially claimed he was armed and dangerous. That turned out to be false. No weapon was found. Then on January 29, 2025, ICE agents shot and killed Renee Good, also in Minneapolis, also an American citizen. The official story kept changing. First, she was armed, then she wasn't. First, she was a threat, then she was a bystander. 2 American citizens dead in 1 week, both killed by federal immigration agents, both in Minneapolis, both initially lied about by the administration. That's why Democrats are using the word execution. Because when you kill someone and then immediately lie about who they were and what they were doing, that's not an accident, that's something else. Now let's talk about the Fourth Amendment because this is critical. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. It requires warrants based on probable cause. That's not optional. That's the Constitution. ICE has been conducting what they call targeted enforcement operations. But here's the problem. According to multiple reports from the ACLU, immigration attorneys and now sitting members of Congress, many of these operations are warrantless. Immigration and Customs Enforcement does have some authority to make arrests without warrants in certain circumstances. But those circumstances are narrow. They apply to people who have already been ordered deported or who are caught in the act of illegal entry. What's happening now is much broader. ICE is stopping people on the street. ICE is entering homes without judicial warrants. ICE is raiding workplaces without specific targets. And when questioned, ICE claims administrative authority. But here's the thing. Administrative warrants are not judicial warrants. An ICE supervisor can sign an administrative warrant. That's not a judge. That's not probable cause reviewed by a neutral magistrate. That's one ICE agent giving another ICE agent permission to search or arrest. That's what Democrats mean when they say ICE must use only judicial warrants. They're saying the Fourth Amendment still applies, even to immigration enforcement. Now let's talk about the 10,000 number, because I wanted to verify this. According to ICE's own data released in early February 2026, ICE arrested approximately 87,000 people nationwide in January 2026 alone. That's 1 month. Florida accounts for roughly 12% of those arrests based on ICE's regional breakdowns. That puts Florida arrests at around 10,440 in January. So when Frankel says over 10,000 in Florida, she's using ICE's own numbers. But here's what's more alarming. According to that same data, approximately 23% of those arrested had no criminal conviction, no felony, no misdemeanor, nothing. They were arrested purely for immigration status. 23% of 87,000 is roughly 20,000 people arrested in 1 month with no criminal record nationwide. That's what Frankel means when she says decent people, mothers and fathers, workers who contribute to our communities. So let me tell you what this actually means. 2 American citizens are dead, killed by federal immigration agents, both initially lied about by the government. That's not conspiracy theory. That's documented fact. ICE is conducting warrantless arrests at a scale not seen in decades. 87,000 arrests in 1 month. 20,000 of those people had no criminal record. They're being arrested for existing while undocumented. Republicans are blocking all amendments to debate any reforms. No body cameras, no judicial warrants, no accountability. Just shut down the conversation. And Democrats are so furious they're using words on the House floor that I've never heard before. Thugs, execution, occupation, raise ICE. That's not normal political rhetoric. That's a breakdown. Here's what this is really about. It's about whether federal law enforcement is accountable to anyone. 2 American citizens are dead. Thousands are being arrested without warrants. And Congress can't even debate reforms because one party won't allow it. Democrats just laid out the case on the House floor. ICE has gone rogue, and Republicans won't even allow a vote on body cameras. Before you go, if this breakdown helped you see what's really going on, make sure you like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this.